Rampant Beasts, welcome to EA F1 Manager 1999. Thank you all for your feedback on the initial episode. It's been very helpful. I know some of you said that the sound was perfect in the last episode. For me, it wasn't. I was watching on headphones on my mobile. There's like a high-pitched scream in one of the background songs, and it was just too high, in my opinion. So I've cranked it down just another notch, but as always, if anything comes up that bothers you, don't hesitate to let me know. Also, I polled you for your feedback about where we should be, and as you can see, the clear winner was Jordan, although there was a notable vote or two for Benetton, another team that I have a lot of affection for. The handy thing about being at Jordan, though, is it has already all the heads of department that we wanted. Now, obviously this is going to be very different to Grand Prix World, primarily because there's not really that much to do. So in this first episode, I'm going to set up the team for next year, because you really only have to do it once, and then we'll go straight into qualifying. The game does actually have pre-season testing, but I'll be honest with you, I have no idea why. It's incredibly boring. I don't know why you would do it, at least not in your first season, and the whole thing is just a bit stupid. Okay, so what we want for next year, we want to keep Mr. Mike Gascoigne. Where are you, Mike? Or we could try and get Patrick Head, but no, Mike Gascoigne. Actually, return to list. He's 688,000, 880,000, 360. Yeah, he's smack bang in the middle, and his salary confirms it. Let's try that. In terms of chief designer, let's see who's available actually. So this is who we've got now. 392,000. Gavin Fisher 322,000. Mark Smith, who we've got. Neil Oatley 685,000. And Rory Byrne 625,000. Yeah, that's actually quite a big gap. Nick Worth, who only designs cars in his imagination, is a bit cheaper, but yeah, this is kind of the ballpark that we want to be in, so let's try and extend with him. In terms of commercial, he's on 278,000. Ekrem Sami's on 230,000. Jim Wright on 189. Okay, let's try and get Jim for next year. That saves us 100,000 or so. That's quite useful. In terms of power unit, this actually did come up as a question on a Grand Prix World video ages ago, and they were actually asking if I have a preferred engine supplier through history. And actually, I'll be honest with you, Mugen Honda has long been my favourite. Obviously not particularly successful in the 90s and 2000s, although they did for a while have an absolute beast of an engine. I don't know why, but if I was going to be backed by an engine manufacturer, I'd be Honda through and through, man. However, we may trade down to a Ford Cosworth, because I'm getting a sort of Anglo-Irish kind of thing going on. Ford, of course, is American, but Cosworth is very much not. Then again, what's the price difference? That's 20 mil. Oh, Mugen Honda is actually a cheaper deal, so yes, let's try and extend that. In terms of electronics, Honda not that good. We could trade up to Tag or Magneti Marelli. Why don't we? Who's got Honda? It's just us, isn't it? And then Vistion is with Stewart. Why don't we trade up to Magneti Marelli? It's such a small amount of money, I don't see why we wouldn't take it. And then in terms of brakes, we will trade up to AP Racing brakes for next year. Okay, then all we've got left is the drivers to worry about. I kind of want to keep Damon Hill, and there was a lot of support voiced for several drivers. Eddie Irvine was one. Pedro de la Rosa, also a popular choice, and of course our favourite Pedro Diniz. I'm going to try and see if we can't get Eddie Irvine. Then again, that driver lineup could be prohibitively expensive. It's a little hard to know. I tell you what, why don't we wait and see if we can drag any more sponsors on board. How much space do we have left? Not a lot, actually. Who else can we bring on board? That makes sense. We want actually the smaller numbers because our car's mostly full. It's Rauch, Mushashi, MSC, Milpass, L'Oreal, because we're worth it. You know, we'll just write to fucking everybody, and we'll take what we can get. They may fall out with us, but, you know, screw them. Alright, that should do for now. And we can see who signs up. No merchandising deals, that's to be expected. We are going to have to hire some more staff. Okay. First things first, let's sort out next year's car. For that, we're going to need more bods for sure. I think 27th of October is a good target. Then what we want is an improvement in delivery of side pod suspension and barge boards, particularly suspension. That should give us a set for a round season open. I don't want to spend more money than that unless I really have to, but looking at it, we do need some more designers for the side pods. The game's a little laggy. Okay, so we've got a lot of parts coming through in sort of February, March time. That's pleasing. In terms of manufacturing, we're gonna just keep things as they are. We have a surplus of engineers right now, but we've got no particular part shortages, so there's no real need to worry too much. We have an average part rating of 92, which is pretty good. That puts us at the sort of sharp end of the midfield. We have 6 cars for some reason. Just cause we can. We don't have to pay to build the cars, so that tells you kind of how shallow some elements of the simulation are. We have 2 official test days before round 1. I'm not going to either of them. You click here and you click if you're going to attend. It costs 50 grand to attend. It's boring as all fuck. I really don't know why we would. It can help in some ways because you can set up your car for that track. So maybe I'll attend Silverstone and sort of off-screen it, but I mean, really, I don't know why we would bother. Right, let's skip time on and see if we get any nice emails back from our lovely emails asking for money and contracts. Wow, this game is laggy. So everything's immediately been leaked to the press. Benetton aim for a top 4 finish. That's interesting. Okay, brake system supply, they want 1.4 million. That's a bit more than I would have liked. Let's see if we can't get them down to 1.3. Yeah, they've not signed. Electronics supply, I will accept that price. It's only an extra £2,000. Oh, good. Mugen Honda don't even want to negotiate. That's excellent news. These sponsors do not want to deal with us. This one does, though. Accept. So what happens when you accept? You have to put the stickers on the cars. And what you'll see here is the livery we've inherited. And these are the empty spots. And you never see the driver's overalls, so the whole thing is kind of pointless. But there we go, we've met our requirements. We've got a nearly full sponsor portfolio, actually. So I'm not going to bother trying to sign anymore. Okay, our chief designer has accepted our offer. They've accepted, and they've accepted. That's good. We have our first iteration of brakes, electronics, and engine. Hopefully more come. Now, these emails you get every week. And what they do is give you a breakdown of what the team has achieved. So they built 7 front wings, 7 rear wings, 7 barge boards, presumably sets of barge boards, and then outstanding issues are like things you need to pay attention to. Now what this is telling us, these sponsors probably don't want to deal with us again in the future unless we start looking after them better. So that's what we're going to do. Hired some bods, and we will try and cheer them up a bit. These guys seem quite happy with who they've got. We want to keep Buzzing Hornets happy. And obviously, like, the less interest they have in the team, the less money you will be receiving, as outlined here. So really, we want to keep these guys happy. I need 2, 4, 6 extra staff in the commercial department. That's obviously going to sort of rack up cost over time, but really what I want is to keep most of the sponsors happy, so we don't have to worry about our income coming down. Oh, sod it, let's get another 3. But then that's your lot. There's no hospitality in this game. It's just presumed that they all turn up, and that's why they've got assistants. They're coming to every Grand Prix. Good on them. These guys seem nicely happy. How we perform on track is also going to have an effect. Is there anyone else that we could sign to take that mill pass? Maybe they would be interested in taking that last sponsor slot. The rest of them are offering, I think, too much money. So Mike Gascoigne's saying we haven't signed up for the test day. Of course we haven't, because I honestly don't know why we would. The game doesn't do a very good job of deciding things like that for you. Let's see if we can't extend Damon Hill's contract. 5.6 million. Let's go 5.5. And driver number 2 will offer a contract to Eddie Irvine. Oh wow, that's a bit rich for our blood. If Damon Hill rejects our first offer, we'll move over to Eddie Irvine. And for driver number 2, I'm going to go De La Rosa. Of course, I want Pedro Diniz, but I also want a driver who's capable of actually pushing the car. Then again, like, Barrichello and Wirtz are good options as well. Then we got Fisichella. Actually, I tell you what, let's just try and find the money somewhere. I'll offer him 7.5. And then for a test driver, I don't see why we shouldn't keep Thomas Enger, to be honest. He seems as good as anybody. There's Luciano Berti, Bruno Junqueira. Actually, how's his feedback? 95 compared to Enger's 90. It's also Sarazan, Steve Watson, Lauren Redon. Alright, let's try and get... I'm not paying you that much to be a test driver. There we go. I don't know if they'll accept those offers, probably not, particularly in the case of Irvine. But let's go. Wow, the computer struggles when I press that continue button. I don't know what complicated things it's supposed to be doing, but there we go. Statement from Jordan. New component deal for Jordan. McLaren in bullish mood. Prost announced goals. Like, normally I will read through these, but at the moment it's really not necessary because nothing much happens. Bruno Junqueira considers it a joke. Well, bite me. Okay. Okay. We will do that. My revised offer is so ridiculous it can only be considered a joke. Fine. Fine, we will go to your competitors who make equally good brakes. Next year, brake supply negotiations. Offer contract. Let's try 1.2 million. Yeah, we can't get any more sponsors. That's fine. No outstanding issues. Really, there's some of the smaller sponsors are seeming a bit less interested, but that's okay. What I'm going to do now is, to save boring you, I'm going to cut the video until round 1, and then we'll dive straight into qualifying. We've already signed our drivers, so there's not much else to worry about there. Actually, what I'll do is also sign a test driver for us. So right now we have Thomas Enger. Where are you, Thomas? There. Luciano Berti or Patrick Lemery are good options. Sneezed, gross. We might as well keep Enger, to be honest. Oh, actually, no. Let's take Patrick Lemery. He's a bit older, a bit wiser. He wants 160,000. Let's try 140,000. Okay, so that's where we're at so far. I'm going to do a few laps of testing off camera, and because it's 1999, that's a long time ago. You guys know how this season's going to play out because the cars are pretty much in the running order they were at the time, and there's not much we can do about it really over the course of a season. But we will be back for qualifying in Australia. Talk to you soon. Well, hello, welcome back. We are qualifying in Australia, hopefully. Now, we actually finished P1 and P4 in practice, which is encouraging, but let's see how things actually play out. First car on track, Ricardo Zonta in the BAR. Hold on, I need to check if this is recording, because I've been burnt before, man. I've been hurt in the past. Okay, seems we're good. Seems we're good. So we'll ride on board with Ricardo Zonta, we'll let some time pass, see who else comes out on track for an early run. Now Simon, my broadcasting life partner, has already pointed out in one of the comments that this game is a bit ridiculous for field spread, and it gets worse as the game goes on. Johnny Herbert there. We have already spent more than half our budget, and the game does a really, really bad job of explaining to you when money is deducted from your balance, when it's added to your balance. There is no loan system. It could be that I fuck up this playthrough on the first attempt, because I'm nowhere near as familiar with this game as I am with Grand Prix World. We shall see. I thought it was a Sauber for a second, but it wasn't. But as the seasons progress, some teams make very odd decisions, and if you take all the worst suppliers and 2 unproven drivers, then you're just going to end up about, I don't know, 15 to 20 seconds off pole. It's quite ridiculous. Do you know, I never used to like the Stewart cars. I don't know why. My abiding memory of them is them always just being on fire. However, the team was actually quite good. I don't know why my memory of them is always like in a bush on fire. Conversely, my memories of Prost are always of the '97 season with Olivier Panis really sticking it to Jacques Villeneuve until he broke his legs. And actually, for more years than not, Prost were crap. So it's funny how these things stick in your memory, isn't it? So Riccardo Zonta goes through on a 2-minute lap, which is just, it's embarrassing, really. But he is on provisional pole with that humiliating effort. We already see how much faster each sector Johnny Herbert is. And he goes through on a 1:44.335. Now, there are some things to pay attention to. If you hear a car getting tyre squealed in the corners, it means it's badly set up. The drivers will make mistakes and sometimes take odd lines or go off the circuit, but it doesn't feel particularly authentic. But I guess that's probably hard to do when you don't have human beings actually driving the cars. Still, Johnny Herbert is your current provisional pole sitter, 57 minutes left in the session. Surprised to see these guys going out so early. Riccardo Zonta there setting a new fastest sector 1. So he seems to be cranking up the pace. It may be that actually we see a lot of guys doing 4-lap runs in the qualifying hour, because the Bridgestone tyres did tend to be faster second time round, and Johnny Herbert as well, beating his sector 1 time already by quite some margin. We will be doing the same. Now, we actually have a new suspension unit, which has been fitted to, I believe, both cars, if I recall correctly. Let's take a quick look. Well, actually, none of them have... let's refit... Actually, I'm going to refit Hill with the best parts. There we go. He's got the new version of the suspension and the new version of the electronics. We also have a new power unit and braking system. Version 1 was never put out there. That may mess up his setup a little bit, but we're just going to have to live with it. Trulli and Badeau are now on the board as well, 150s though. Now what I'm going to do is we're going to take a lot of fuel out of this car. That's the first thing. I'll leave a little extra in because you never know what's going to happen. 55 minutes left in the session. Still a bit early for us to be going out, actually. Now, I'm only going to be telling the drivers to push, not risk everything up until the final runs. That way, you know, it's no big deal if they do bin it, because at least we know they were chasing the best possible qualifying time. Luca Badoa in the Minardi. Wow, that gap to Trulli in the Prost is humongous. Let's see how he does when he comes through to cross the line. A few corners time. Now the camera will jump around a bit. We can tweak with the settings about what it decides to show. Like there's like an AI director, and you can weight things like overtakes or the players' cars or whatever. It will try and show... Oh wow, Herbert stuck in traffic there, that's really bad. Pedro de la Rosa in the Arrows goes through for P5. That'll be another slow initial lap, I would think, just to get one on the board. I never liked that Arrows livery. That's my least favourite Arrows livery, I think. Both the BAR and the Stewart coming in. Luca Badoa improves to take P3 provisionally. How are we looking now? He's in the 143, so that's a bit more reasonable. Della Rosa way off, but that seems to be the pattern that the cars out on track are following. We're going to wait for these cars to come... oh, they're already in the pit lane. That's fine. I'm going to send out Heinz-Harald Frentzen first. I'm going to set him to push immediately. We'll see how well he does. Excuse me. Frentzen actually had a pretty good season in '99, as I recall. Certainly made Williams think twice about letting him go. The cars do tend to sound like they are hitting the limiter most of the time, but according to the setup screen, they're not. Zonta moves up to P2 at some point. Now you can see we're super slow because we're coming out of the pits, so I'm not too worried about that delta time at the moment because it's not even a timed lap really. The game does measure your sector times on your out lap and in lap, but so be it. So Johnny Herbert is your leader, 134.362, 7 seconds clear of Ricardo Zonta's BAR in P2. Now what I'm hoping for is that, none of our guys bin it. That would be good. John Lacey also out on track in the Sauber. That is the worst representation of a Sauber livery I've seen in a game. Really weak source, but it has to work with all the different sponsor logos switching around. Della Rosa goes through for third, so he can't beat the BAR Supertech out on track. They're both running the same power unit, as I recall, though. Back on board with Frentzen, super slow so far, but this will be the first of 2 fast laps that he's going to put in now. We have to watch his fuel use, of course. So coming through to start first fast lap. Rubens Barrichello out for Stewart. Frentzen goes third on his out lap. That's quite ridiculous, but at least it shows us pace in the car. Let's check our telemetry really quick, see how he is for fuel. Yeah, that's perfect. 52 minutes remain in the session. I'm going to let him do 2 fast laps and then we'll look at putting Damon Hill out for his first run of 3. I'm going for 3 4-lap runs rather than 4 3-lap runs. I just think that's a good balance between putting wear and tear on the car, risking the drivers binning it and getting the most out of the tyres on that second lap. Frentzen faster sector 1 by 1.2 seconds over the current pole sitter, 1.299 up in sector 2, so obviously he's going to move into provisional pole position, but really it's going to be when the McLarens come out that we're going to be seeing what's what. John Lacey crosses the line for P7. Now what I'm hoping for is I spent a lot of money getting this iteration of our suspension system out early, and in practice it looked like it made a positive difference on the car. I'm hoping that it does, and actually we can maybe snatch ourselves some strong points in the opening rounds. The car theoretically has a high enough rating for it, particularly allowing for attrition over the course of a Grand Prix, but we will have to see. That's Barrichello up ahead, I think. And we're coming through on the first of the fast laps. Rubens Barrichello moves into P6. There's a slight delay on showing you guys crossing the line. In a moment we should see where Frentzen pops up, but I think it should be P1. Yeah, P1 on a 1:33.050. That's a very, very strong time, and he should go faster again if my theory is proven correct this time round, because also he'll have less fuel on board, although he is in traffic. It'll be key here. Oh, you jerk. I wouldn't be surprised then to see us actually lose some time there behind that Stewart. Clearly we're faster. Now I wasn't able to get Frentzen set up perfect, however I was with Damon Hill's. Now you're probably thinking he's 1.3 seconds clear on provisional pole. That's pretty good. But in this game, really, it's not. You can't read anything into the lap times because the whole simulation is just balked. Yeah, he moves out to try and get past, but it was just too far behind, really. Jean Alesi puts another lap on the board, only good enough for P8. There's a huge disparity in performance. Oh, and he locks it. Yeah, that's the session over for him. Pushing too hard too early there, Jean. Yeah, this is a slower lap for Frentzen. I'm going to choose to abort that lap and pit him in. Meanwhile, I think we can do the first of our runs with Hill. Now, he's the one with the advanced suspension, so hopefully that makes a difference as Frentzen comes into the pits. Yeah, I mean, he just lost so much time in traffic. And you have to be very careful of traffic in this game. If you get stuck behind a car you know is slower, but is not so slow that you can just easily breeze past them, then you can find yourself really suffering. There is, to some extent, a slipstream effect, but you can only really seem to leverage it when you've got teammates running close to each other. Otherwise, they just seem to get in each other's way too much. So Frentzen pits. He is your current provisional pole position man. Slow lap, of course, for Damon Hill on cold tyres. This is also the heaviest the car will be on his run. But I'm interested to see if that suspension makes any difference at all. He was already faster than his teammate over the course of practice, and I tried to run them as evenly as possible. Oh look, traffic. There's a BAR ahead of us, and hopefully Hill can get past. Because I want a representative lap time, and they're just too close together. What would be really good is if that BAR would come into the pits. Cut off rather nastily there. I think that's Villeneuve up in front. Oh, come on. Yeah, it is Villeneuve, because he's going round to set a time. Marc Genet joins the fray. Ah, that rhymed. Wasn't even intentional. So you can see we're faster than the BAR. We're gaining on them, but he just built up too much of a lead over the course of that straight that we're going to be stuck behind him on this lap, and that could really hurt Hill's time. Running out a little wide there from the awkward angle he had to take into the corner. I mean, we have a much greater straight line speed than that BAR, for sure. But it just looks like, you know, they're both pushing, and it's kind of hard, I guess, to clear that car. It's just sort of a rolling chicane. And what happens is you can see it quite clearly. He closes up, and then fails to get past at the corner and falls back again. Alexander Wurz puts a time on the board in the rather stylishly liveried Benetton for P12. Finally, oh no, cut off again. Villeneuve's got a very good defensive stat, it seems. Look at that field spread, 29 seconds. Yeah, Damon Hill really struggling in the traffic. He's 4 seconds off pole with what should be a better car. Panis goes through for P4 in the Prost, one of the few cars to be on a clean run at the moment. And what you can't really do is predict when someone's going to put their car out in front of you just as you're coming through to start your fast lap. That's a very annoying part of it as well. And obviously the later in the session we get, the busier the track becomes. Hill there going through. Let's check our telemetry, see if he's got enough fuel for him. He does have enough fuel for another lap, and he's going to need it. Meanwhile, let's take a look what's going on for Frentzen, see what he thinks of his setup. Increase the gear priority by 1%, that we can do. There's a Benetton about to come through, so how about we get Frentzen out for another run. Okay, so once Damon Hill crosses the line on this lap, we'll have to pull him in. And hopefully now he's getting a clean lap. Yeah, he's much closer now to pole time. Still, I would expect him to be faster. This new suspension system is like 1 or 2 points improved, so we would hopefully see him beating his teammate over the course of a session. But that doesn't necessarily mean the upgrades are write-off, of course. Vert's good enough for P4, displacing the Prost of Olivier Panis. Damon Hill, still slower than his teammate, but much closer. He's 3/10ths down over the course of the lap so far. 45 minutes remaining in the session. So I guess we're gunning for P2. See if we can temporarily make it an all-Jordan front row. Pedro Diniz in the Sauber, P15. His teammate putting it in the gravel early in the session. That means Diniz is the sole Sauber running through for the remainder of the session. Heinz-Harald Frentzen obviously very slow on his outlap. So Damon Hill goes through P4, not quite the improvement we were hoping for, but it looks like he ran into traffic at the end of his lap. We're going to bring him in from a rather disappointing initial run. Yeah, he ran into traffic for sure, and the stewards have now split us. We are ahead of Benetton of Alexander Wurz, though, by quite some distance. I guess those cars are running a little bit heavier. Sauber sit bottom of the pile. So let's jump on board then with current pole sitter Heinz-Harald Frentzen on his fast lap. And he does improve in sector 1, 1/10. But he's also running into traffic, and that is a slow car up ahead. Who is that? That looks like a Prost. Presumably Olivier Panis. Don't know why the directors decided to show us Damon Hill on an in-lap when we have Frentzen out there on a fast lap, but there we go. Yeah, and again, the traffic really screwing us. And we weren't running in traffic on the outlap, it's just he's caught him over the course of the outlap, and now here we are. A replay here of someone crossing the line, but the UI has glitched out. It must be Pedro Diniz, but he hasn't improved from P15, so I don't know why they felt that was noteworthy. Oh, he has, P7. Good job indeed. As Hill comes in. Looks like a Benetton up ahead. So, failure to improve for Frentzen due to being stuck in traffic. And now he's catching a Benetton. Can he get past? No. So I'm going to bring him in because we're just wasting our time. and I'm going to let a bit more time and rubber go down on track. My only concern is, I hate to cut the recording temporarily, but the hard disk space on this machine is really, really poor, and what I'm worried about is I run out and then you guys miss the end of the session. That would annoy all of us, because there's not really much I can do about it if it happens. So we're going to jump back in about 10 in-game minutes time, and then we should run through till the end. Talk to you soon. Back, you are joining us for the final 30 minutes of the qualifying session. Some of the big hitters have come out now. Both Williams are now on the board, although they're not able to beat our times. The Ferraris, though, starting to shake things up. Michael Schumacher is your current pole sitter, 4/10 clear of Heinz-Harald Frentzen. Damon Hill languishing down in 7th. Let's see how we are for traffic. Yeah, a lot of guys starting to come out now. What we want to do is let's get Hill out into, oh no, Prost has just come out ahead of him, fuck's sake. What we want is 3, 6, 9, 12 and change. Yeah, all the slow cars starting to pile out now, just specifically to get in my way. We'll put a Frentzen out first, actually. Now, he lost a lap because someone screwed him. And one of the McLaren's coming out now, so the big boys really are coming out to play. I think I'm going to put him out after the McLaren because he's not going to catch that, I would hope. And once this little gaggle of cars here comes through, we can also put out Damon Hill for hopefully some clean air. I mean, that's what we want, really. 28 minutes left in the session, and we'll jump over to TV view shortly. Oh god, look at this. We have to beat that Prost. Let's go now. Both drivers already set to push. Let's jump on board with Frentzen for now, currently in P2. I'd be very happy if he finished with a front row start. I would be delighted, in fact. But I'm not sure it's possible. And what's worrying me is that he doesn't have the suspension upgrade. And I'm worried if the suspension upgrade is actually slower, which can happen, or sometimes it can be better but heavier and then also make you slower, that would suck. So not much to report so far while we're warming up, but I'm pleased to see that Hill has no traffic ahead of him. And looking further, oh no, he is gaining on what looks like a Benetton, but hopefully there's enough of a gap that it's not something we have to worry about. Meanwhile, Frentzen, of course, traffic. It's a McLaren, and he's going for the overtake. Cut off by a McLaren. How have we caught up to a McLaren? Maybe that suspension upgrade did work very well. Now Damon Hill's getting traffic too. This sucks. Come on, frame rate, you can handle it. Yeah, we are stuck behind the McLaren. Of all the places to get stuck. Frentzen is just incapable of overtaking. Come on, Damon, come on, I believe in you. I believe in you, Damon. No, and his setups, apparently his setup's perfect, but it sounds wonky. Mika Hakkinen crosses the line, P22, just slow enough to completely fucking hold us up. Oh no. Is it? Oh, Well, that's a problem that solved itself. Mika Hakkinen in the gravel trap there. He has screwed up Heinz-Harald Frentzen's lap, but that's a small price to pay for taking him out of the session. Let's move over to this screen. The computer seems to be struggling, which tells me we're running out of recording space. Let's pit him in. Hill, however, has to finish this lap. In traffic again. There's a Ferrari trying to get past, but we're holding him up. Good job. Let's take a look at the current standings. Damon Hill still in P7, though that is an improvement because he was knocked down by some of the faster cars. David Coulthard only good enough for P5 so far. Frentzen holding on admirably to P2. The car's not even super pushing yet. We'll save that for the last round, which is about to be for Heinz-Harald Frentzen in 10 in-game minutes. Yeah, still stuck in traffic. See, I mean, there's no penalty system either for people blocking you in qualifying, so it's really annoying. You will just get caught up like this. And there's a huge, as you can see from the field spread, there's a huge pace differential between, like, you know, pushing and making an effort and not. Like, we've just held up Michael Schumacher there. Not that I care, because I don't want him to build up a bigger lead, because maybe Frentzen can pip him for that coveted pole position. Damon Hill comes through, fails to improve because traffic reasons. What we will do is increase the gear priority for Frentzen as requested, and let's refit him with the best parts we have available. Okay, and what we want is 5 laps of fuel, 5 litres of fuel added to the 4 in the tank. That should bring us up to 9 plus 1, so we've got a little bit of change for when he's pushing, and that should be good enough for his last run of the day. I just don't know when to do it, because they're all going to pile out at some point, and then we could really be knackered. And he's got a genuine shot at pole here. Let's not forget, people like Mika Hakkinen and John Lacey are already out of the session completely. Coulthard seems off the pace. Schumacher's wasted a run stuck behind Damon Hill. Damon Hill's wasted 3 of his 4 runs in traffic, so, you know, you win some, you lose some. But all things considered, we seem to be going in a good direction for a healthy start. And that's Damon Hill coming in now. Yeah, the track's starting to get busy again. I'm going to cut the video again, and we'll come back with sort of 10 minutes to go. and we'll see what the track looks like. Talk to you in a moment. Hey, welcome back. 11 minutes left on the clock. We're just going to wait for these shitty cars to go through. I'm going to put out Damon early. He needs... yeah. Come on, go through, arseholes. That should do. He may also block Schumacher, which would be cracking. And then we will also send out Heinz-Harald Frentzen in just a moment or two. And hope that he doesn't get screwed. And these will be the risk everything laps. We're going to get the guys pushing hard. Okay, that Ferrari's coming in, so that means we've got a little window. So I'm not going to go to TV view until we start the flying laps. And it could be that they bin it, right? I mean, we've seen Mika Hakkinen bin it, we've seen John O'Lacey bin it. It's entirely possible that Hill throws it away, but I'd rather that than him be stuck down in P7 or P8, I think he is now, when we clearly have the pace for sort of a first three rows start. He's catching up to that McLaren, which is concerning, but... and there's some slow Benettons coming out of the pits, just in time to ruin everyone's day. Well, Mika Hakkinen's got into the T car, so he is qualifying after all. Right, turn him on to risk everything. And pretty soon we'll do the same with Frentzen. In fact, I'm going to do it now so we can go into TV view. So this is the maximum level of push, and it's very easy for them to fuck it. But we've got some good times on the board. I think we'll make it through with some good finishes. Hill there throwing it into that corner, but it's nice to be able to see him put the hammer down for once. And he's already 6/10 up in Sector 1 on pole position, which is really, really good. Frentzen comes through. He's moved down to P5 now because both Ferraris and both McLarens have moved ahead of him. But it's all still to play for. I really think it is. The gap to the cars in front is not insurmountable. And you can see the current standings on the bottom of your screen now. That field spread is fucking stupid, but it doesn't get any better, I'm afraid. So that's Frentzen coming through. Oh no, that's Frentzen crashing, it looks like. Yeah. So that's Frentzen out of the running. So he will be starting no better than P5, so it all rests on Damon Hill now, who has been held up by a Williams. And look at how that's affected his final sector. Oh, it's not a Williams, it's a BAR. Again. Oh no, it is a Williams. Marc Genet, only good enough for P21, but he's in a Minardi. Give the boy a break. What's going on here, Damon? There is no car ahead of him that I can see now. I'm sure there is, just behind the air. Yeah, there I see it. A Benetton. But he's not riding its tail anymore. And this is his last chance to improve. Let's see how badly this Benetton ruins his lap. We improve again in Sector 1. Yeah, but we're right. Oh, excellent. That Benetton bins it completely, freeing the track up. That's a piece of good fortune at long last. So what we want now is Hill not to bin it. Slow Sector 2, but he was stuck behind that Benetton. So he's got it all to make up in Sector 3. This is his last fast lap. I mean, 7th I could live with, but I just think the car has more to give. Yeah, that's a really bad Sector 3. I don't know what he's done. Hakkinen is your pole sitter. Through he goes. Where does that put us? Trying to pit in. That puts us still P7, but not too bad. Not too bad. Hopefully the camera switches now to a car that's actually got something to do. Also, I should tell him to slow down. Yeah, he's off there. There's no point binning the car now. Oh, he almost lost it there. And he's like half a second up in Sector 1. So it makes me want to finish the lap, but I can't because it won't be classified. Apparently we're in P6, so it must have taken a little bit of time for the concurrence to update itself. P6, I'm very happy with. P5, P6, that's really good. That's a third row lockout, provided we can hold on to it. And given all the trouble we've had with traffic, I mean, really, I've not seen the like. It's a bad circuit for traffic as well, to be honest. It's you know, you see the same at Monaco, of course. Get out of my way, Prost. So, Toru Takagi, P20, massively off the pace, like just embarrassingly off the pace. Pretty standard for the game though. Surprised to see the arrows quite so far back. Eddie Irvine improves massively in Sector 1, but drops it in Sectors 2 and 3. Still holding on to third position, but I don't think that's going to yield any improvement. Panis, terrible first sector, down in P12, nearly 2 seconds, and he's holding up a McLaren behind him. So I'm sure that makes him popular up and down the pits. 4 minutes remaining in the session. I think these will be the last runs of everybody. I don't think many people will run to the very last moment. We're on board with the Williams now. I can't see whoever number 5 is. Could be Zanardi. It'll be Williams who'll be very disappointed with this session though. Neither car really challenging the sharp end, and certainly we've had their number all along. Stewart have been a bigger threat than Williams so far. With actually Johnny Herbert has out-qualified us. So well done indeed. Final laps of the session now. Don't know why you're bothering, Toru Takagi. It's really not worth your effort. That arrows looks like a dog. Mika Häkkinen pits from provisional pole position, which, let's be honest, is pole position now. It was Zanardi, number 5. He is slow, very, very slow. He's losing a lot of time in the medium and end of the lap. Now, to be fair, the 99 Williams wasn't exactly their best work, but it also wasn't as bad as I think a lot of people seem to think it was. They just didn't have the best choice of drivers, I don't think. Zanardi really, he's a guy I've got a lot of respect for, but he kind of embarrassed himself a little bit that year, just really couldn't settle in. And Ralf Schumacher's always been a mystery to me. I've never rated him particularly highly, and he did have a habit of binning it fairly frequently. So, not my favourite Williams lineup. And to think they bumped Heinz-Harald Frentzen for Ralf Schumacher. That's mad. Ralph only good enough for P9. Where's this Benetton going to end up? I think this is Alexander Wurz that we're riding on board with at the moment. He's coming through to finish his last fast lap. Now, I mean, credit where it's due, actually. This game is super old, but I mean, it could be uglier. I mean, obviously the hexagonal wheels don't really do it any favours, but once it's zoomed out a little bit, I think it's perfectly watchable. I don't know why it jumps to people coming in and out of the pits. I don't know why he's coming in. Good. I don't know why he's coming out. He doesn't have time to get round to set a fast lap. So I think that pretty much locks us in, because it's showing people coming into the pits now, which means only this Benetton is out on track, I think. And I can't see his split times, but it's Fisichella, who is way off even his own pace. So that doesn't really suggest to me we're going to be seeing an improvement. Zanardi's going to squeeze out one last lap though. Squeeze out may be the correct term as well. Fisico even slower in the middle sector there. Very, very disappointing. I don't know why in this game they split the track into 4 sectors. You may have noticed that. You see, he's already got a 3rd sector time before he's actually made it. And there we go, that's the end of qualifying. Mika Häkkinen is your pole sitter, 129.947. Nicely clear of teammate David Coulthard. Eddie Irvine lines up P3, Michael Schumacher P4. Pretty strong showing for Heinz-Harald Frentzen, good enough for P5. Damon Hill P7, so it's us and the Stewarts really fighting it out for best of the rest. Guys, thank you so much for joining me. I hope quarantine is being good to you. There'll be some more videos coming up later today, and I'll talk to you again very, very soon.